Ring, ring. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello. Are you alone in the house?
No, actually, I'm not.
Oh, really? Who else is there?
My parents and my dog.
Oh, really? I wonder what their insides look like. What's your favorite scary movie, Zach?
My favorite scary movie? That's
Yes.
a difficult question. This is like a horror podcast. You know how long it would take me to answer that
What's
question?
What's your favorite romantic comedy?
Oh, maybe The Princess Bride? Maybe?
Okay,
Doesn't
that's a good
count.
one. Do you have
Doesn't
any
count.
Pop-Tarts in the house?
I don't have Pop-Tarts. Casey, do you have Pop-Tarts?
Fuck.
I always have
I need some
Pop-Tarts. What the fuck?
Pop-Tarts.
I always have Pop-Tarts.
If you don't get me Pop-Tarts, I'm gonna kill your old family.
I mean, you can do that anyway, but I've got cherry Pop-Tarts. They're pretty good.
Ooh, that'll
Yeah.
do me. Thanks. I'll call back next week for some more Pop-Tart ideas.
They might be Fruit Loops next time. Those are pretty amazing. They were out.
This was the killer from Scream. Click.
Wait, how does The Princess Bride not count as a rom-com? I mean, it's a lot of things, but that's certainly one of it.
It's a fantasy. Romantic comedies are
Okay,
garbage that I would never watch, and I've seen The Princess Bride, so it doesn't count.
I feel like no one movie fits into just one genre. I feel like you can mix and match things.
I don't know. Have you seen Things? That firmly goes into the shit genre.
Welcome to another miserable podcast, everybody. Horror Decomposed. Joining me, as always, Professor Casey.
Hi.
The Criterion Kid, who's also a professor, Kris Pistol.
Hi.
I feel like I need a separate title for you, Kris, because I'm tired of saying professor twice, but you both are professors, so I kind of have
Why don't you just become a professor so it's automatically assumed for all of us, slacker?
It would become the Professor Podcast.
Yes.
I have different life goals, Casey, but, you know, baby, it could happen. Anyway, thank you for joining us, everybody. So, we have a few things on the docket for you today. We have a feature scare review. Yes. We have Kris's classic horror corner making a triumphant return.
Yes, I've got a classic to talk about.
And then Casey and I are going to tell you about our very fun vacation and the horror-themed activities we engaged in.
And all of the cocaine they consumed.
Yes.
All the bats, all the bat country fun.
You know, guys, before we get to the feature scare, you guys will be proud of me. I have finally entered the world of 4K television. It took me long enough. I was setting up my new TV. Oh, yes, I was setting up my new TV in my new apartment.
Oh my.
And I got like a nice little 4K TCL TV. And it looks really nice.
Nice. You know, if you're streaming 4K, it's not really 4K, and you need some kind of physical 4K media to truly enjoy the medium, right?
Oh, thanks, Casey, for ruining
We're
it for me.
We're gonna nerd it out for you. Buy a PS5, Zach. It's got a 4K player in it. Come on.
I mean, that's the plan when I can find one.
Oh yeah, I saw one for $750 on Facebook Marketplace. I mean, that's only almost double what it costs.
Hell, right now I'm trying to decide if it's worth it to upgrade to the 4K Netflix plan, which is like $4 extra a month. But I don't even know how much I use Netflix. But you know,
I don't do it, but there's stuff. I mean, I don't do Netflix a lot, but I do have the plan because, I mean, if it's there, I need it. And Fear Street looked pretty good. Yeah, it was.
Does HBO Max?
HBO Max has released like two things in HD. They suck at it. They're like. I mean, sorry, in UHD. They're pretty terrible at it. The movie releases that they've been doing, like concurrent with theaters, or UHD, but nothing else has been.
Yeah.
Except for the Snyder Cut, maybe, but it's in a little 4x3 box, so who gives a shit? And plus, it's the Snyder Cut, so who gives a shit, right? Who's got 4 hours for that? Not me.
So HBO Max does not offer 4K streaming, apparently, or not a lot, but Disney Plus does. It's just for free.
Yeah, but people have taken them to task for faking UHD somehow or faking HDR. I can't tell the difference, dude. I can definitely tell when I'm watching a UHD disc versus a 4K disc, but as far as streaming goes, you're getting a slight bump in quality. You're not getting a whole lot usually. My internet's not all that great. If I had fiber or something, maybe I'd see a little more difference, but it's still not going to be true UHD.
Yeah, streaming is just not. It's not quite there yet, which is why you should still buy discs.
Yes, I've got some coming.
You got a 4K player, Kris?
No.
You guys both
I don't
need
have
PlayStation
the money to upgrade at this point.
You know what sucks is before the PlayStation 5 came out, I was looking for a 4K player because, hey, it was the pandemic and I was bored. And they were nowhere to be found. They were like impossible to find for a while, just any 4K player, unless you wanted like a $500 prohibitively expensive model. So I'm kind of glad that the PS5 has it built in because I wasn't going to buy one separately. So,
yeah, I was looking them up. They're still pricey, the 4K ones. They ain't cheap.
And it's like,
where'd you get that TV, Zach?
I got it on Amazon, which was a big risk.
But
the model,
yeah, that is a risk.
the model I liked was on Amazon only, and I couldn't find it anywhere else in stores. And so I just went for it, and I've been happy with it so far. And I got a soundbar. I did not get a subwoofer, but I did get a soundbar, and I'm just been trying to set that up. And yeah, I'm very excited.
Don't buy your soundbar from Target.
No, I did not buy a soundbar from Target. It's not like the most expensive soundbar, but hopefully it'll just improve the quality of the audio enough. It's my first experience with a soundbar, so
yeah, I'm too much of a headphones person to take the plunge into a soundbar because I got some really great 3D sound headphones. Good times. Yeah, I got an order from Severin coming in. They had I think I mentioned it on our last episode. They had a Black Friday sale, halfway to Black Friday sale as well, while we were in Vegas. So I got I got a couple things. They're not really horror. It's like a lot of post-apocalyptic movies, but I can tangentially talk about them a little bit when I see it.
Well, also a big shout out to AMC who reactivated A-List for everybody.
Yeah, I checked. Mine was too. Yeah.
And you can't cancel it, or else you're not going to be able to sign up again for 6 months. So thanks, AMC. But I'll probably use it. I just wanted to wait like an extra month, but I can't really do that. I have heard stories that if you do cancel it, a lot of the time they'll let you rejoin before that 6 months is over. But I'm not going to risk that, so I'm just going to be going to the movies. So
and other good news for those of you that are kind of in the area that me and Zach are broadcasting from, the SoCal LA adjacent area, the Porter Ranch AMC is open now. So it's another choice, and it's actually the one that's closest to me by like a lot, because I live in the Santa Clarita area. There's no AMC theater unless I drive about 30 miles. So this is making it more like 20 miles. So I'm cool with that.
All right, guys. So we watched a movie this week.
Yeah, to varying degrees of liking it from what I've seen on Letterboxd. Yeah.
So let's get into it. This is the feature scare. So, our feature scare this week is Fear Street Part 1, 1994. So what is your guys' experience with the Fear Street books by Mr. R.L. Stine? Because I was a Goosebumps kid, and Fear Street was like for the older kind of teenage crowd. And I don't know if I ever read them.
Yeah, I was definitely more Goosebumps, and then just stopped reading for just a little while. Probably what in the years that I was old enough to appreciate Fear Street. But yeah, I was aware of them, but never read them.
I always looked at the covers, but I was reading regular adult books by this time. I was a teenager, but I never was a young adult books person. It was always adult, but comics also were like right around the time the books came out. I was more of a comic book guy than a heavy reader. So yeah, I was like the graphic novel person at this point. But yeah, the covers are great. The new covers are absolute shit. That
I
they've
actually haven't seen them. Yeah.
they're
Their new
just
covers.
they're just plain white backgrounds with skulls and like silhouettes of people standing there. They're not cool at all. The originals had like these great paintings of characters. Yeah, they re-released the first 3 books with just absolute shit covers, and yeah, got a bone to pick with that. This series does sound interesting. I was talking to Kevin about it yesterday, a friend of the show, and he was telling me he took the R.L. Stein masterclass, and he had all kinds of interesting things to say about Fear Street and all of the shit they got away with in the books. Because young adult, okay, as someone that's worked in a bookstore, all of us have. Young adults is a classification that really doesn't have an age limit, and it has a wide array of what the authors think are appropriate for young adults. For example, there are young adult splatterpunk novels that are super fucking gory. There's splatterpunk novels. There's stuff with a lot of swearing and sex and stuff like that, to the point where, like, as a bookseller, we had to talk to some parents about it. Just be like, yeah, you know, if you're asking us what age group's appropriate here, young adult's kind of a catch-all term that could be like teenagers or it could be like 25-year-olds. And yeah, proceed at your own risk, I guess. But this movie was very R-rated, so it definitely leaned into that harder edge than of the young adult spectrum for sure. But that was one of the things I really liked that it did. I was glad it wasn't Jack Black Goosebumps too.
No, one of the kills in this film caught me off guard more than like any death scene in a movie in quite a while, because most of this movie is pretty tame. There's blood, but it's nothing like that gruesome until this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I've watched 50 movies where that's happened to people. In fact,
yeah.
if it doesn't happen in a movie, I'm usually disappointed. But I just
I watched this with
another
my fiance, and it was the first time that she went, "Oh my god!"
I think it was more shocking because we were expecting the character to get rescued from that situation, and it's just
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah. Nah.
So I really want to get your thoughts on this, Kris, because you are a big fan of Scream. Casey is not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like Scream to me, which is why I liked it. So I'm interested in seeing what a Scream fan
Yeah,
thinks.
so because this is this trilogy of movies, they're, at least, I don't know about the third part, at least the first 2 parts are kind of send-ups, you know, homages to like different genres of slasher. So this first one is like certainly paying like a love letter to the 90s slasher movie.
The third one's going to be kind of like The Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, it definitely feels like that is really like front loaded with this. Like in the beginning, it seems like, okay, we're really setting up the 90s. Like we're really doing this sort of like Stranger Things, but for 90s kids kind of throwback, with like a shit ton of needle drops. We're just gonna play like a song like every 2 seconds.
Song. So where the songs are bleeding into songs. Yeah,
it was almost like the fucking the original Suicide Squad trailer.
it's like if you have a DJ instead of someone scoring this. Like
if you like angsty alt rock, you'll be right at home.
Which I love. I was happy with some of the choices that they picked.
Yeah, I mean, I really loved the first, like, what is it? Just the opening of this movie, like the whole opening sequence and the setup for it.
Let me tell you, if you open a movie in a B. Dalton bookstore at a mall, I'm going to be really happy.
Yeah, it felt like they. The only thing that would have made that more 90s is if it was a video store, but it almost felt like they probably couldn't put that in the budget because it would be like they probably used an existing bookstore and like redecorated it.
They did a pretty good job capturing.
They would have to, if it was a video store, they'd have to like build that shit from scratch.
Oh,
which
yeah.
would be really, really expensive and time consuming. The only people that have the money to do that are Marvel.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a Barnes and Noble converted into a B. Dalton, but it was fairly accurate
Books
for
A
what it
Million.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, B. Dalton was like a bit before my time. My bookstore growing up was a Crown Books, and then
They were very similar. Very,
but
very similar.
we had a Crown Books like outside of the mall, and then eventually, and then we also had a Walden Books inside the mall that I think became a Borders Express, and then the Crown Books eventually just became a generic discount bookstore, but it always had a lot of stuff on sale. And then it became Spirit Halloween, which is great, and now it's a Gap store, which isn't so great.
Yeah.
If you're in Burbank, it's that Gap store near the AMC 16 used to be a Crown Books back in its heyday.
But it's okay because they have the world's biggest Barnes and Noble there, so it's not the world's biggest, but it's pretty big.
There is this is a very classic kind of throwback opening, which I really liked and appreciated. And then we just kind of get into introducing our characters, which I kind of had a little bit more of a problem with, I think, with this film. Kind of going into the characters, I feel like it picks up a little bit more with just like an interesting story and kind of keeping you engaged in like where it's going, because I didn't pick up too early on like where this was exactly going or what exactly was going. So all those sort of twists and turns kept me engaged with it. But for the most part, I was just like, these characters just are. You need like a couple more pass throughs on the script to really punch up these characters and make them likable. Because if we're comparing this to Stranger Things, which I think is very apt, because it feels like there was definitely a meeting in Netflix that was like, okay, how can we like adapt the Stranger Things formula, but make it like for more like 90s kids and maybe like switch up the genre to try to get a new audience or something. The thing they're missing is really interesting and engaging characters that want to keep you coming back and watching them. I guess I'm still going to watch the next like couple of these movies because I think they're going to be telling completely different, at least like new characters, and a new range of people. So and it's going to be completely kind of different in at least the type of horror genre that it's going to be doing. So I'm definitely going to like come back for that. But I think this might be. Hopefully, this is the weakest entry in the trilogy.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like,
go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, if you agree, could talk about it because I disagree. So
no, I was gonna say I agreed a bit with Kris in the sense that if you're comparing it to Stranger Things, well, like the intro to the kids on Stranger Things was they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they're all very likable and endearing. And here you're introduced to this girl who's like a teenager at her teenage angstiest, and is just super angry for the first half of the movie, like to an absurd degree. She's just like gives everyone like a death stare. And not in like a fun way. She's just really pissed at her.
Yeah, we're introduced to this girl,
and like I get it,
and I get it. She's like been shit on, and she's like got a hard life, and she's been. You find out like why she's so pissed at this girl that she had a crush on, or was ostensibly dating, who like left her, left town or whatever. But at the same time, you're like, dude, chill out. Like,
I think
you're in high school.
I don't remember if this is. I know there was a line about it. Is she raising her younger brother? They don't have their parents are not there because you don't ever. See them.
That was the thing I realized. Like halfway through this movie, I was like, where the fuck are any of these kids' parents?
Oh, they say her dad's a raging alcoholic that's never there. They reference it a bunch of times. Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, I was kind of
the other kids' parents.
I grew to. Like this is the character Dean. I grew to like her character a bit more later on in the second half, but it took some time, and I kind of wished Maya Hawke was the lead character, which she wasn't. Sadly, she was in the Drew Barrymore role. So.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I think this movie was fun. You have all the stock stereotypes. The kids are the teenagers here. They're kind of one note. You have the younger brother who's, of course, like the horror fan who knows all about urban legends and the history of the town.
But his one character trait is to just like stare quietly.
Yeah,
as he's being made fun of.
It's not like a huge cast of teens. I'm surprised there wasn't like one more. I felt like they could have maybe used an extra to kind of punch up the body count a bit. They just this core group of kids. There's like 4 of them throughout most of the movie. I was surprised there just wasn't a bigger group. Usually in these slashers, I feel like there's a few extra characters, disposable characters. Seeing it as it is like a send up of like 90s slashers, I felt like it was a decent kind of spoof of them. It's kind of more of a love letter, I guess, than a spoof, but it wasn't like
I don't think I'd call it a spoof.
Yeah. It was, not. I wouldn't say to the degree of Stranger Things or even something like Letters to Satan Claus, which is a really great like satire of Lifetime movies. This isn't that. If you're looking for like something that's like satirizing the slasher genre, watch Scary Movie.
I don't think it's doing that. I wouldn't even really call this a slasher movie. As a slasher purist, I'd call it a Monster Mash movie that takes too long to get going.
Yeah,
but. Yeah. Okay. So the problem I had with this, and I gave this 4 stars on Letterboxd. I liked it way more than you guys did. But first of all, I did like some of the characters. Josh was basically me playing Castlevania Bloodlines while listening to Rob Zombie. I've probably done that exact thing in this exact year that this game came out.
I had no context for that, so I was a little confused why he was like speaking Shakespearean with the person online.
No, he just was in a weird chat room, man. He's just in a weird chat room. Also, Homeboy always wore an Iron Maiden shirt. I'm on board for that too. But
there was someone that pointed out online in that chat room that the font they were using in that chat room, I think it was Calibri, is not
that didn't exist.
Accurate to that time period.
Also, back then you didn't get to pick your font in that chat room either. AOL didn't let you pick your font in that. I was an AOL kid at that time. Not as weird as this guy, but I was probably talking about like wrestling with someone or video games or something. So I really I liked his character. I thought the funny dude was funny. I mean, you can kind of describe each character in one sentence. Bitchy cheerleader I thought was actually an interesting character. Bitchy drug dealing cheerleader. I thought she was more interesting. Yeah, she was kind of bitchy.
I did see that's I was just like struggling with some of these characters and like figuring out who they are, what their characters are like, because like especially her, she seemed like she's a cheerleader, she's dealing drugs with this dude on the side, so she's kind of got a hustle thing going, but then like we kind of established that the younger nerdy kid has like a crush on her, and we're not really sure like how she feels about it. And then halfway through the movie, they just kind of like, when everybody's kind of like hooking up, it's at a certain point they just like hook up, and I was like, oh okay, I guess she does like him.
She did say that he barely got to first base though, so they just made out. But that other dude cranked it in the bathroom, which is a great joke. But yeah, I
was also uncomfortable because I thought he was like at least 4 years younger than them at the start of this. So I was like,
it was unclear how old he is.
Because he's kind of small compared to everyone. Yeah, he's a short dude.
Like, this is a little creepy.
I do gotta say though, like, I didn't get as much of a Scream vibe from it. The killer in the robe definitely doesn't help, but I thought that it should have got to the other slashers a lot sooner. Because it becomes a Monster Mash movie, and when that starts happening, there's only like 40 minutes left in the movie, because I looked at the time thing, and I'm like, wow, they took this long to get going with that, and start introducing other characters. I mean, they referenced them earlier on, and they referenced all the characters we're going to be seeing in the next episode also. But yeah, kind of weird. I guess they didn't want to be too much like Goosebumps, but the rest of these movies are going to be like that. So yeah, it's a little weird. I do think that some of the more interesting characters are going to be in the second one. That milkman guy looks pretty cool. Kind of looks like Two-Face.
Yeah, the thing I like most about this movie is the premise and the execution of it. Like, I think it's really well directed for the most part. There's just some like great cinematography. It looks really cool. There are some interesting kills, and I just like the whole conceit, like you were talking, the Monster Mash kind of conceit, even though I agree it definitely should have started sooner. But even at the beginning, when it's sort of like pretending to be like just a straight up sort of like slasher, almost like Scream homage, I was still kind of invested in that part too. But yeah, but I just wish the characters had just been more interesting and more engaging. Because like for the first half, I was just like, oh fuck, I don't.
Yeah, I think the problem with like Dina and Samantha is that they didn't give them a sense of humor. They just kind of gave that to Simon and Kate a bit.
He had some great one-liners.
You can't have a protagonist in a movie like this that doesn't have a bit of a sense of humor. They're just too stone.
She was way
based
too serious.
And it's lighten up, man. Lighten up.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. She's like screaming at the girl that you know left her, and she's like giving all this exposition about why she's upset and why she's mad at her. But it's like, at the same time, I'm just like you're not hearing this other person's perspective. You're just like rage screaming at this person, and it's not making me like you anymore.
Yeah, so we get I'm not gonna go through the entire movie here, but we get like I will say, so it takes place in Shadyside, which is a cursed town because a witch was hung there in 1666 and she cursed the town.
Yeah, I hope we get more like I think we're going to, but I definitely want to hear more history about like this shady town versus what was the other town called? Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale. Like I want to hear more about this like rivalry between these two towns and the history of everything.
Yeah, so it has a huge history of murder, and I do feel like the first half of this movie, it moves so fast, and they're throwing so much exposition at you just to get it out there. So much lore. It felt kind of rushed to me, and that's why I feel like we didn't get to know the characters as well as I would have liked to, at least until the second half of the movie. I will say they call Shadyside the murder capital of the USA. There is only one murder capital, and that is Santa Carla. Okay, Shadyside, it's Santa Carla. Don't be stepping on Santa Carla. That's their territory.
Wait a second, let me get this straight. Are you telling me that we moved to the murder capital of the world? Are you serious, Grandpa?
Well, now let me put it this way. If all the corpses buried around here was to stand up all at once, we'd have one hell of a population problem.
It's actually Detroit, I think. That's the real one.
Thank you, Casey.
Yeah, that whole like town rivalry thing gave me like Pawnee versus Eagleton.
It did, because there's like
I liked a lot.
There's a eulogy for Maya Hawke's character. Spoilers, minor spoilers, and the town meets on this, and it's the only people from Sunnyvale to apparently come over are the football players and cheerleaders and their mayor.
Because they had to.
And so there's, you see Dina getting a huge fight behind the bleachers with her ex Sam because she sees a jock groping her ass. And
so hold on.
Yeah.
Murder capital of the United States. Okay, do you guys care to guess? It's somewhere you wouldn't expect, but it's a big city.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
No, but that place was bad. I saw that HBO special, Banging in Little Rock. How about you, Zach?
Somewhere I wouldn't expect?
Yeah.
I don't want to say something that's going to offend somebody, so just tell me.
It's St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I would believe that, actually.
Interesting.
I've been to St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
Except for the downtown area, which looks very nice, and that's what everyone takes pictures of. The rest of it kind of looks shady and creepy.
Gotcha.
And it's in like the South Midwest, which is like, where all the murders happen. Where all the creepy redneck.
Yeah, the second place is Baltimore, and Detroit is number 3, so I was close. I was in the top 3.
It's like wherever there's shitty weather, people will just start killing each other.
Look out, California! It's hot as fuck.
God. So in this sequence, a fight breaks out between the Shadyside jocks and cheerleaders and the Sunnyvale, jocks and cheerleaders and band members and stuff. And then we cut to a bus scene where Kate is giving like this rah-rah speech about we're going to kill those bastards. And then Dina apparently takes it literally because a car drives up behind them like chucking shit at them. And her ex is in this car. And she goes, you know what? Here's an ice cooler. I'm going to freaking chuck this ice cooler at her and try and kill her. Because screw her.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of played out like as an accident.
She was just trying to fuck her up. I don't think she's trying to kill her.
Okay, still, even if you just dump liquid, that's gonna obscure the vision of the driver, and they could get into a serious car accident.
No, I think they were gonna fire one across the windshield. Either way,
the bow.
Either way, you're putting your ex's life in danger. I don't care how much you hate her. Like, come on. They crash and then they all survive, fortunately. But Sam, apparently, in the meantime, she desecrates the grave of this witch, supposedly. Even though apparently I think it's already been desecrated because the killer at the beginning of the movie was apparently possessed by the witch, as that's kind of what happens. So eventually it's kind of confusing how we meet all these different slasher villains, because initially it seems like it's sort of like an It Follows thing where this witch possesses different people and gets them to kill people. But then we meet like some of the people from the past that were possessed by this witch and are now killing people. We meet the guy that looks like Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2, who we're going to see a lot more of in the sequel, which should be fun. Then we meet this one girl I think her name's Ruby Lane. And then we have the Skull guy.
Yeah, the least cool.
Yeah.
The least cool of the three.
And then we have the Skull guy.
Yeah, he's the modern one. But yeah, we get to see them explode and reform, which was fucking cool.
Yeah, I like that they're like like Scooby-Doo plan like actually works when they do.
Until it
unrealistic.
It worked pretty good until it didn't. Yeah.
Right. Well, their execution, planned out.
I was hoping
they didn't foresee.
I was hoping they'd come together in some sort of super monster instead of just individually coming back. Yeah.
Just a PSA to all like horror protagonists. Fire doesn't usually work. It doesn't. Like, it works for a minute and then they come back in the sequel, or
Yeah, not against it, especially when your killer is supernatural.
Yeah. But yeah, we get the, as Kris mentioned, we're gonna die, so let's all bang sequence.
Or crank it like the other guy. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil everything, but I think we have to talk about the bread slicer, that scene, just briefly, because that was gnarly, man. The place I used to work with had a bread slicer. I steered clear of that thing because I didn't like it. I remember seeing one of the cooks, he would always put the bread through, and I was just like, oh god, man, that's just like, I don't want to get my finger stuck in that thing. And
I loved it, and it's the scene everyone's talking about right now, which is great. If you look at social media right now, everyone's saying, "Oh, that one death fucked me up." I'm like, all right, awesome. I hope there's more of those in the next one, because we only got one. Yeah.
So that is any like parting thoughts on Fear Street Part 1, 1994. It is a trilogy, so
I guess we're gonna go into spoilers a little bit.
If you want to get into a little bit, if you want to, we can. Yeah, sure.
I guess just because I'm a little confused on the sort of like ending twist that's gonna lead into the next film, but they call this woman who survived one of the previous killers, and they're like, how did you survive? And she's like, it doesn't stop. And then essentially the girl that they spent this entire movie trying to save becomes, like possessed by the witch herself, essentially. So what happened to that girl on the phone? Is she also possessed?
No, she's a victim. She hasn't. If she was possessed, her name would have been on the list. Since
right. But if she's like, it doesn't stop, is she still being stalked? What did she do with her killer?
I think we're gonna find out,
because it would have been the baghead guy. Yeah, it would have been the baghead guy for her.
Right. But she's not being stalked, nor did she turn into a possessed person.
Yeah, I don't think this film could have worked as like a standalone theatrical release. It needed to be like this event kind of series they're doing, where each movie is released like the following week. Because
this is the future of movies now.
It doesn't feel like concrete enough to me to stand on its own without like these, because it's a 3-part movie essentially. So it's not,
because I feel like this is the future of movies, because if like more and more movies are just being released via streaming now, a one and done story is not enough to get new viewers. You got to like rope people in with the promise of more content.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not like an It Chapter 1, which stood on its own as a standalone film, and the sequel is the sequel. But like this, it really feels like the first like part of a book, and then we're getting the other 2 parts that I'm just saying, if I saw this in theaters and I found out the sequel wasn't coming out for like another year, I'd be kind of pissed because the story isn't finished.
I mean, I'm used to it.
Wait a year.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
I waited a year for Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, that's true. But that was like, there was a lot in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember
when Star Wars movies took like 2.5 years to get made? So we had to wait like 2 years for the next one.
Yeah.
Even though those sucked.
Yeah, I just think this film felt like it was written knowing that the sequels, these are 3 different movies they're going to release within a week of each other. So yeah, I'm hoping the Fear Street Part 2, 1978 is going to have kind of its own vibe and isn't going to be just directly following. Obviously, it's going to be following this because it's going to be cutting back and forth between modern day, what's going on with our protagonists in this film, and then what happened in 1978. I just hope it kind of plays more into the kind of Friday the 13th kind of feel, and we get a good kind of homage.
Looks like it
to
will.
that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they literally
and then
stole
the third one's
Jason
supposed
from
to be. The third one's supposed to be during the witch's time.
Yeah.
I think.
Which we'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see. But I
think I'm looking forward to that one the most because I like witchy old timey stuff.
Yeah, as long as it's not the witch in The Conjuring. Fuck. The Conjuring 3, I should say. The witch in the first Conjuring. Well, was there a witch in the first? Yeah, there was a witch in the first Conjuring. That witch is cool. Yeah. Not the one in the third one.
So how would you guys rate Fear Street? I already said mine. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. How about you guys?
I gave it 3. I was like, this was enjoyable. I definitely liked a lot what it was doing with the story. But yeah, I needed more characterization to really get me into it and make me want to see this again. Which at this point, I don't think I'll see the next ones, but I don't think
I really waffled back and forth between 3 and 3.5. I think I would have liked it to be a bit more of. I would have liked to see more elements from like a 90s slasher thrown in, like kind of not in like far as the death sequences, but I just think they could have.
Yeah, just the tone and story.
They could have played it up a bit more. I think.
I feel like that would have lowered my score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it becomes a thing where like the 90s thing seems like just like to get you into it. Like it almost seems like a cheap gimmick at the beginning because you have all these needle drops. Lots of a few 90s references, and then like halfway through the movie there really is no reason for this to be set in the 90s anymore other than the characters don't have cell phones.
Yeah, it's to get the phones out of the way 100%.
Yeah, which I feel like every horror movie going forward is just going to have to be set in the past before cell phones.
Yeah,
it's just too much of an inconvenience.
Oh my god, we have no reception. Oh
yeah, you can only do that for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have more fondness for the 80s, and late 70s, era of slashers than I do the 90s. But I mean, I grew up, as you did, Kris, with 90s slashers. So I don't have as great a knowledge of like the Scream franchise as you do. I haven't seen a lot of the sequels in a while, and I never saw the TV series. So
I didn't either.
Yeah,
I had no interest in the TV series. They changed the mask. Fuck that.
But I had fun with this. I think I landed on 3 stars, but it was a good 3 stars. But I didn't have as much fun with it as something like Letters to Satan Claus, which you have not seen. That watch it; it's great. Not enough people saw that movie, but and it has I would say the kill sequences in that. Maybe the gore isn't quite to the level of like this one specific death in this film, but I think it's more fun. So, but I did enjoy this, and I love that it's like kind of an event thing, and there's going to be a movie next Friday and the Friday after that, and I'm really looking forward to watching them. And yeah, I'm excited to see the rest and see where it goes. So yeah, that was Fear Street Part 1, 1994. So Casey, I believe you have another new segment that you.
Okay. I just wanted
before we get to Chris's.
I just wanted to talk some breaking news from my comic homies out there that it looks like Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be a little bit more spooky than we thought because Doctor Strange is going to be involved. This was basically due to a toy line release showing not only Doctor Strange being part of the toy line for the movie, but Spider-Man having enhanced Doctor Strange version of his suit, which is amazing. So it should tie into the Multiverse of Madness, which was originally intended to be a horror film in the Marvel Universe. But it's probably not going to be now because they have a lot of other stuff to deal with. The multiverse grew a little bit while they were in production for the movie, as we know. So, yeah, this could be interesting. I'm there for it.
I'm wondering if there's going to be other leaks because I'd have to imagine if like the other Spider-Mans are going to be in this, i.e. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, there's going to be more like figures or something released of them as well.
Yeah,
as
they're,
like
they're really poorly trying to. They're really poorly trying to keep that under wraps. So, yeah.
So, all right, Kris, it's time for Kris's Classic Horror Corner.
Ooh, yes. So I've been like on sort of this like a British kick for a little bit, and I was going through some classics I had not seen before, and I found this was on Shudder. So I opened up my Shudder subscription to give a look at this, and I heard some good things, mostly about the effects in this movie that really happen at the beginning and end. But was surprised at just the overall quality of how well this movie is made. This is 1957's Night of the Demon, aka Curse of the Demon.
Oh yeah, classic.
Which I think it's. I'm sure that's just a like British a Philosopher's Stone versus Sorcerer's Stone kind of
Not
deal.
to be confused with Night of the Demons plural. Remember this.
Right.
Singular.
Not to also be confused with the low budget Sasquatch film Night of the Demon.
Yeah, which is a tremendous movie that everyone should see.
Yeah, this is a 1957 British horror film, directed by Jacques Tourneur, who is famous for doing a lot of sort of more like noir type of stuff. And this is almost like a noir horror movie. He also did I Walked with a Zombie, Cat People. So he's got this sort of like noir sensibility. And so essentially it's about a Satan worshiper, or a guy who's like basically has this like secret church of Satan, and someone finds out about him and gets some kind of dirt on him. It's left kind of vague. So he's just like, oh well, I'm just gonna send my demon after you and have him drag you to hell or have him kill you. So at the beginning of the movie that happens. You see the demon right away.
It's that one shot that everyone sees. Like it's the one image from the film, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. He just like appears out of nowhere in like a cloud of smoke and amongst the trees, and it's really fucking cool looking. And then he just like forces this guy into some power lines, and the guy gets like shocked to death. So it looks like an accident. So then the guy's coworker or friend shows up, and basically like it kind of becomes like a third man type of thing where he's like trying to investigate his colleague's death and try to figure out why he died. And he's very like anti-supernatural, and just like he's very very like grounded and doesn't believe in anything supernatural. So he's very resistant to all the villagers who are very suspicious and skeptic. And the guys, I think either wife or sister, one of the two, who like knows exactly what happened, and he's trying to investigate what happened. And slowly he gets the curse placed on himself by offending the Satan priest guy. So it becomes kind of like a drag me to hell type of thing, only it's well made. But yeah, this has some like really really effective creepy sequences. You know, I thought like it was going to be like, oh, like a cool beginning and a cool ending, and then a lot of like bullshit filler in between. But you're really engaged through the whole middle half of the movie, and it's got some just like really just creepy sequences that are very atmospheric and I thought were really interesting. And
that
cool.
said, though, beginning and the end really are the coolest parts of the movie, even though the middle's still pretty good.
Well, they're definitely the most memorable parts of the movie for sure. But yeah. I thought that the middle half of the movie was like solid enough that I was like, oh, I definitely wish I had seen this like earlier. And definitely think
I don't think I've seen this since I was a kid, and I watched it because that image of the demon was in every like monster book you could check out from the library.
Same. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's great from what I mean.
It's definitely a 1950s movie, and I definitely would hesitate to call like the effects scary when compared to today, but they're definitely like well done. And
it is kind of cool how the smoke comes out of the demon when he appears instead of like smoke just being in the background. But that had to be really dangerous for whoever was in the suit.
It's scary when compared to the fat cadaver in Conjuring 3.
Yeah, probably.
that's what's scary nowadays. Apparently,
his name was Robert Paulson.
There's a middle section where it's atmospheric enough to where like I think you're really gonna dig it and really appreciate it if you like that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah! Good suggestion, Chris. Good suggestion.
And this is on Shudder.
On Shudder, nice. Oh, also
one of the few old movies on Shudder.
Oh God, I'm blanking on the name. Vampire movie. Bill Paxton. Edit this out. What's oh God.
Near Dark.
yeah.
Near Dark.
Okay,
Near Dark, yeah.
also on Shudder is Near Dark. It has been added, and I have never seen this, and I need to. So I'm gonna watch that this weekend.
We talked about it on the show.
Yeah, I need to see it. So it's on there now.
It's great. Watch it. It's great. I watched a bootleg copy of it last time.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was available for the longest time.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's a new release on Shudder called Vicious Fun, which I still need to watch. I still need to watch Skull the Mask. I'm behind.
God damn it. Yes, you do. But we had some vicious fun because Zach and I went to Las Vegas, and I want to do a little read along here. I'm not going to read out the article to anybody, but I want them to check this out. Okay, so Horror Hound magazine, one of the greatest horror magazines out there. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. I subscribe like a real G. The latest issue is all about traveling, and there is a horror travel guide in this issue. I want to give it a big shout out because, first of all, the LA stuff is all the shit me and Zach already do in Burbank, pretty much. Like, it talks about Halloween Town. It talks about Bearded Lady Mystic Museum. It talks about even Blast from the Past, Hyena, House of Secrets, all these stores we already love. They're a big bulk of the Los Angeles area. So yeah, you can make a day out of going to Burbank and shopping at horror stores. If you need help, either read this article or ask us. Me and Zach will tell you the good places to go. And Kris has been in the area. He's removed now, but he's been there long enough that he could help you as well. Familiar. And but what was cool is, okay, first of all, this magazine came the day I got back from the trip, Zach. So it had all these great tips of what to do in Las Vegas. Came the day that I came back. But most of the stuff in this article we did or I have done in the past. So yeah. All this, like Zach Baggins' Mystic Museum and the Monster Museum are in there. I've done those before. Everything else that's in there pretty much we've done on this trip. So we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff that they mentioned and expand on it because they just had like a little blurb on stuff. But we're going to tell you how cool Twilight Zone miniature golf was. We're going to tell you about Area 15, which I don't even think was in the article. But it should have been.
That's a major fail on their part. Wasn't in the article.
Yeah. And we're going to tell you about a cool fucking horror store that you need to go to if you're in the Vegas area that might even be cooler if you're going a little bit later in the year. So yeah, let's get to it, Zach.
All right, where should we? What is our first pit stop?
Okay, I don't remember the order we did stuff. It's all kind of a blur. I'm very tired still.
First you took the Quaaludes that were in the trunk.
I think Area 15 was the first horror themed kind of pit stop that we went to. So we should start there.
Picked up Tobey Maguire with his blonde mullet.
So if you are in the Vegas area, the first place you need to go is Area 15, which is this awesome kind of interactive art installation that has a bunch of different exhibits. The main attraction there is Meow Wolf's Omega Mart. If you have not heard of Meow Wolf, they create these incredible interactive art experiences. If you have not been to a Meow Wolf exhibit, you need to do anything you can to get you one. There's one in Santa Fe. I know there's one opening up in, I think, Denver, Colorado. There's going to be one in DC at some point. Hopefully they bring one out here in LA.
We can only speak on the Vegas one, but goddamn.
But we went to Omega Mart in Las Vegas, which Omega Mart is the world's coolest grocery store, but it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than a grocery store.
Over 200 artists made this grocery store. Okay, so you walk in and it's a grocery store and you look around and you're like, this place isn't really that big. But Omega Mart is about exploration. And what you originally see when you walk in Omega Mart is maybe like 1/6 of the whole experience. Possibly. It's fucking huge.
Oh yeah, you see all sorts of products like "Who told you this was butter? Do not eat." Home freshening spray.
Yes,
whale song deodorant.
Yeah, deodorant, antiperspirant, and antidepressant,
and corn on the cob PM.
Yeah, you get to see some weird cereals. You get to see some fruit with teeth and faces and
peppers
monstrous
with teeth and
features.
faces, which I took home one of them.
Yeah, I just got a big mug, a Mega Mart mug, that tells you don't know what's in store for you.
Mega Mart, you have no idea what's in store for you.
You can buy like most of the stuff in the store too, which is pretty crazy. I would like everyone to go and find their way around this place themselves, but I'll tell you a little bit about the path we made. I opened a freezer, and the freezer opened to like a back loading area, and it was
a warp
lined
hole
with,
to another dimension, Casey.
yeah, well, first you had bottles lining the walls, and as you walked farther back, the bottles started to warp and twist and stretch.
Cool, like sound effects. Which, if you go on my Instagram, you can see this moment when I followed Casey through the freezer wormhole.
Yeah, and you go out of it, and you're in another dimension. You're in this room that's kind of like a Grand Canyon, but it has projection mapping that all kinds of weird shit happens. Psychedelic fucking light shows, portals opening to like Aztec gods. And then we explored a little bit more. There were these weird little side rooms, and we found an alien corpse.
You walk in and just feels
As you
like
do.
you probably downed a bunch of shrooms and LSD, and you're like, wait, I don't remember doing that, but
Oh shit, yeah.
that's
I remember like seeing this on your feed, Zach, and just thinking it was like this insane sort of like art exhibit.
and there's so much more that I didn't put in that the like eight pages of photos that I put on it's one Instagram post and
All right, well,
videos.
you've got posts lined up for days then.
I'm not gonna do any more. I'm just gonna tease people because you need to go in and experience it. But it is so much fun.
Tease me, motherfucker.
We went into like some pretty experimental rooms too. Like there's one that has one of those giant laser harps that you can play. There's one that has like this weird image capture with a strobe light that turns into techno music dance show with you on the walls. There's I had my face transformed into an alien in front of my very eyes. A lot of strange things, and there's a lot of exploration.
There's a couple different robots you can interact with through like a computer interface. There's a lot of lore.
They don't understand a lot of words, but yeah.
There's a lot of lore that you can pick up and find out more about. There's the big backstory to the Omega Mart. That's kind of
go through computer files and file cabinets and find all these secret things. Yeah.
I love this image that just looks like it looks like a model of like a city in a cave or something.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that was there. That they just have different things like that. It's different kind of art pieces that you'll stumble upon. It's really cool.
Over 200 artists, and some of them move, and some of them are interactive, and some of them change as you look at them. They're just great. And I tried capturing the kind of haunted mansion photo effect, painting effect of some of the stuff, but some of it's hard to take pictures of. You have to see it yourself because some of the shit happens and then doesn't happen for like minutes. Like you might have to be lucky to be in a room to see something a certain way. Like there's just so much going on and so much to explore. Went down this twisty, painful slide that felt like I got reverse butt fucked at the end. And let me tell you, it was worth every penny.
Reverse butt fucked.
We paid $40.
Sadly, I did not go on that slide because my lower back was acting up, and it acted up for a good amount of the trip, unfortunately. And I was like, it's not going to be good if I go down the slide. And Casey complained about the landing, so it did look fun.
My tailbone pretty hard.
I'm hoping because I will go back to this exhibit and hopefully the other Meow Wolf exhibits. I want to see all of them, and I'm hoping my back will be better so I can actually go down a slide because I'm way too young to be having back problems. It was just. I've been building a lot of furniture and hunched over, and then we drove like 4 or 5 hours and then walked a lot the first day. So by the time we got there the second day, my lower back was not happy with me. So
yeah. Also the tattoo of the butterfly was bothering him.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have got that.
What happens in Vegas, Casey? That was supposed to be a secret.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the listeners something important. This was $40.
You two got married.
almost everything in Vegas is $40 a person, but this was worth the $40. Okay. We got to talk about Madame Tussauds because they used to have a horror section.
We don't really have to talk about it. That was the most disappointing part of the trip.
They don't have it anymore. They tore it out to put in a fucking bar. So don't go to Madame Tussauds. Do not pay $40 for that. Okay. Something that's actually like bang for your buck amazing is for much less, for like $12 a person, you could do Twilight Zone miniature golf, and
Hell
you can
yeah.
win like me. I won.
Yeah,
I won.
I was cranky during this because Casey was kicking my ass basically for most bit, but we didn't even he didn't want to like keep score initially, and we kept scoring a really like backwards way than they
But
usually
I
would.
won. No, but what sucks is we got stuck behind this slow family that just took forever, and there was 4 of them.
That happens like half the time you do miniature golf.
They were like 4 or 5 holes ahead of us initially, but we caught
And
up
we
to them
caught up.
like
That's how slow they
very
were.
fast.
Yeah. And then we had people behind us that had to wait for like both of us. It's like, oh my God. And she's like,
yeah,
oh, you could skip ahead and do the previous holes and come back. And I'm like, it's not how you fucking play golf. Come on.
But yeah,
get away
if
from
you
me.
if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone, you're gonna have fun with this. It's a blacklight mini golf course, and there are 18 holes. They cram them all
Yeah.
in there, and if you see the post on my Instagram page, you might see like a mural of "To Serve Man." That's from the mini golf course. I kind of kept it a little cryptic, so you might not know what that is if you just take a look
They
at
have
it.
some deep cut episode references, and they have like the ones you would expect to see. I thought it was great. This is at Bally's, by the way, so this is on the strip. Area 15 / Mount Wolf off the strip.
Yeah, Meow Wolf is like, I don't know, 10 minutes off the strip. It's really nearby.
We did some great stuff off the strip, though.
Area 15, I should say. Yeah, I was going to say back to Area 15 really quickly. There are other experiences there that we didn't get to check out. But there is also a really cool barcade that we went to called Emporium. There's a restaurant called The Beast, which looks really cool. The food was just all right. There's some cool stores there. There's a Rocket Fizz if you're like into old school kind of candy soda shop
axes.
stuff.
They got an axe throwing.
But there are other art exhibits. There's the Van Gogh immersive experience, which is out in LA right now. It's kind of a touring exhibit. We didn't do that, but I've heard great things about that. There was something called Wink World, which is by one of the creators of the Blue Man Group, which also looked fun. So
yeah, it looked like a blacklight thing that we experienced a lot of blacklight things inside.
Omega Mart is without question like the big attraction there. So
yeah,
but it's a really cool just place to be.
All the other stuff has separate admission prices.
I could have spent that whole trip in Area 15 just sitting there and like gawking at the ceiling and like the skull that like had projections that would change and at the front of the exhibit. Anyway, so we did a lot of stuff on this trip. So we mentioned Area 15, we mentioned Madame Tussauds, which wasn't so great. We mentioned Twilight Zone mini golf. Casey, what is our next stop?
Okay, so if you look up Vegas, you're gonna hear of the Golden Tiki, and I'm gonna tell you, fucking go to the Golden Tiki.
Oh yeah,
because it is an amazing tiki bar. I don't drink. What's cool though is if you don't drink, it doesn't matter. You can order food and you can get your tiki drink. You can get a Dole Whip inside your tiki mug and still get your tiki mug because they have the tiki mugs that you get to keep. And it's a cool place. You open up into a cave playing Pirate's Life for me, and then you go inside a bar with lots of places to explore and
very colorful lights.
On.
It's beautiful. You can also see a picture of that on my Instagram.
And interesting bathroom. We'll just say it at that, and you can figure it out yourself.
I'll tell them because who knows who's going to get to this place or not. So if you go to the Magic Castle, one of the features at the Magic Castle, if in the men's room, I don't think they have this in the women's room, but if you like take a piss at a urinal, you'll hear a voice start laughing at you. And you're like, oh, okay. So
it's kind of like in fucking the Wizarding World of Harry Potter when you go into the bathroom and they have like Moaning Myrtle's voice like projected through the thing, and you're trying to take a piss and you hear this like voice going, oh,
yeah. So they have a similar thing at the Golden Tiki, which the bathroom is awesome because they have like a bunch of like skulls on the wall, like kind of coming out of this sort of grated thing. I don't know how else to describe it. And it looks really cool. Anyway, when you go to wash your hands, you'll hear a voice that goes something like, "Oh, wash your hands, you dirty little, monkey," or whatever like that. You are disgusting. It's something like that. There's a
Yeah,
few
the
variants
other
of
one,
it.
the other one said, "Hey, stop pissing on the floor, you
Yeah,
50 bastard,"
it-
or some shit like that.
Which
Tremendous.
is good
Scallywag.
advice considering how often I've been in public restrooms
Yeah.
and seen people not wash their hands.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good advice.
Yeah, no, it's apt.
disturbing.
But it's a lot of fun. It's just super colorful in there. The drinks are great. I do drink a bit, so I was driving though, so I only had one drink. And the nice thing about the Golden Tiki is they rate the strength of the drink, so you can get one that you think you can handle. And as someone that had a 3-star drink that I think had a little Dole Whip in it, it wasn't too strong. I felt pretty much fine. So, but I've heard the higher ones can really mess you up. So just fair warning.
Yeah, I enjoyed my Dole Whip. I got a cool mug. I was happy with it. We got in like a pirate room. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. The food's not great. I've had it before. It's kind of whatever. But and they were out of all desserts when we went, which was kind of like shitty because you can't fuck up dessert as easily. But yeah, except for Dole Whip, but that's an anytime treat. It's
There
not
is
just
also a really great display of shrunken heads as you make your way to the restroom, and it's like of different celebrities. I don't remember all the
Yeah.
celebrities that are on there, but it looks awesome.
They had David Bowie, they had Nicolas Cage, they had Divine, they had Hunter S. Thompson. They had quite a selection of people. I thought it was great. Yeah, I've been to this place before. I recommended it then. I'll recommend it now. It's a place I would still go back to, even though I don't like drinking and I don't like bars. It's fun. We also have to shout out Fuku Burger, which best burger I've ever had in my fucking life. That's off the strip as well. But go to it. Go there. Buy a burger. It's worth it. It's amazing. I'd recommend the Tamago. Zach got something else.
I got their main standard burger with the crack sauce. It was delicious. So
Crack sauce.
Mine had some crack sauce. It had some wasabi mayo. It had some other shit in there. It was amazing. Tamago. It had an egg in there. It had some onion straws. It was great. It was an absolute mess and difficult to eat, but
I miss
tremendous.
burgers.
Yeah, that place was the best burger I've had, and I've gone to
do
crazy
they not
expensive.
have burgers in Little Rock, Chris? You say that like you
They
haven't
do, but
had
they
one
don't
in
have-
years.
They don't have good ones. They don't have
Oh.
They don't have fucking Doghouse, which I miss
Yeah, I
tremendously.
remember we used to do Doghouse a lot.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, this place I can't recommend enough if you're in the Vegas area. In fact, if I was going to recommend you one restaurant, I'd say to do this, because we did the Bacchanal buffet, which was the craziest buffet in the world, but we had to wait an hour and a half to do so, so it was a little long wait.
It was worth it. It was worth it, but yeah,
It was good shit. Yeah,
the dessert bar. Hell yeah.
just remember to load up because you're paying about $100 a person, a little less, like $80 a person, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, get as much as you can. Get your money's worth, but it's
Yeah.
great.
And then the other horror thing we did that I gotta recommend, we went to Nightmare Toys, which is a horror store, and it's not just toys. It's kind of similar to Halloween Town in Burbank in that they carry a little bit of everything. They had masks, they had some props, they had toys. They had a really good Blu-ray section with a lot of like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin titles and Arrow Video titles.
Yeah, their physical media section was impressive.
Good vinyl section. They had a lot of puzzles. That's what I picked up. I actually picked up a Joe Bob Briggs puzzle. No, I haven't put it together
And I
yet.
bought a Ghoulsville Little Frankie figure
Yeah,
and a little Gremlins plushie dude.
yeah, this was a cool place. The guys that worked there were nice as fuck too. Cool dudes.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a bit to them. They have a restaurant opening sometime in the fall or winter. That's going to be next door to it, like a little restaurant cafe, and it's going to be cool because then they can have the Nightmare Cafe, is what I think they're calling it. And shout out to that really obscure Robert England television show, syndicated, that he was the host of, anthology horror show that he did. that wasn't Freddy's Nightmares. And this was a fun place. I loved this store. It would be like if I lived in the area, I would be a regular at this place. In fact, I wish I'd known about it when my girlfriend was living in Henderson, which was super close to Vegas. So I'm just like, oh man, I don't know how long it's been there though, but it seems like it's been there a bit because they have a pretty sick mural outside.
Yeah,
so.
Nightmare Toys, just fantastic. You can see a picture of the really cool facade on our Twitter account, twitter.com/MPOS official, but just look up another Mishbowl podcast because that URL is going to change very soon. So the last
coincidentally, we had another one. I couldn't think of another one.
The Pinball Hall of Fame, sir. How dare you?
Oh yeah.
I saw footage of that.
Yeah, it's
played the shit out of some horror pinball at this place.
Yeah. Even if you're not a fan of pinball, you will be after going to the Pinball Hall of Fame. Trust me.
And I got to name drop some stuff that they had that's horror themed that people would like. They had 2 Universal Monsters pinball machines. They had 2 of the same Creature from the Black Lagoon machine. They had all 3 Elvira pinball games, incling the newest one.
There was 3? There was a third one?
There was.
Oh man, I missed that third one.
And they had Invasion from Mars, its sequel, the upgraded Invasion from Mars with a hologram screen. They had all kinds of stuff with that. They had Nightmare on Elm Street pinball. The machine's seen a little bit better days, but it was still pretty good. And they had Twilight Zone. They had
Creature of the Black Lagoon. She mentioned that one.
Yeah, I said that. They had that one twice. They had, I think,
Monster Madness.
Dracula.
Was it like a Monster Mash pinball? Is that it called?
Yeah, that was the Universal Monsters one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they had Haunted House, but it wasn't working. And that's like an old school one that a lot of people like.
They had a Doctor Who pinball machine, which I made sure to send a picture of to Chris.
Oh yeah,
I played.
Dude, they had some obscure movies too. They had a Johnny Mnemonic pinball machine. They had a Last Action Hero pinball machine. Okay, my favorite pinball machine they had that there was Medieval Madness. It's where you're storming a castle and destroying it, hitting trolls in the face with pinballs. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. If you ever see Medieval Madness anywhere, play it. I love it. And they had the Iron Maiden pinball machine, which ruled. You get to pick which Iron Maiden songs you listen to while you play. Pretty cool stuff. They had a lot of the newer machines made by Stearns. Like they had the Simpsons one. They had like the Deadpool and the Star Wars and stuff. They're fairly common now. The Ninja Turtles one. But they still had plenty of the old school stuff for you to play as well. This new location's pretty sweet. You can't miss it. It's at the end of the strip pretty much. And it's a giant building that says pinball in like 3-story tall letters. You cannot miss it, especially at night when it's lit up.
It's hilarious, but it's great. And they do have a few more things than pinball there. They have a lot of old school, like test your strength machines and your love, press your thumb here or whatever.
They got a few arcade games too.
Yeah. They have like a cool hockey game, lots of different things. They have some really cool old school things. And I will say, I've always been a fan of pinball, but this gave me just an even greater appreciation for it. And just these so many different permutations that you can add to like pinball machines. And I'm so glad that they haven't gone away because that's something that could happen. And it was so much fun. I wish it was out here because I'd be there all the time. So highly recommend going to the Pinball Hall of Fame. And that pretty much wrapped up our trip. So I won like $100 on a slot machine after that. So it was a good night for me.
Yeah, I came out about $50 ahead, so I was happy. They were horror themed. We did do some horror themed slot machines. We both lost on them pretty bad.
I recommend the Gremlins one. The Gremlins one was fun. I think lost about $5.
I do not recommend the Little Shop of Horrors featuring Rick Moranis
or the Ghostbusters one.
Don't do it.
The Gremlins one is great though. If you see a Gremlin,
but I ended up winning my money on a generic haunted house slot machine. And very
he did. Yeah, he did. And I got carded while watching Casey during that.
Zach gets carded a lot.
I do. It's what happens when you have a baby face.
Young looking man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a
So-
gambler, Chris? Are you a gambler?
No, not really. Mostly just because I didn't grow up around any casinos whatsoever.
Have you been to Vegas?
No.
Ah,
never been to
man,
Vegas.
you gotta go,
I've
man.
been to the Vegas airport.
Been to the Vegas airport. You were getting married. I'm guessing within the next year or so. So we need to take you on a bachelor party.
You can
And,
have Elvis marry you. No, you got to have the wedding there. Yeah.
Hey, we've talked about doing something in the same vein because planning for a wedding sucks.
Yeah.
You know, we could probably get you a Doctor Who to officiate the wedding.
Mhm.
I can't guarantee which doctor it's going to be, but
I'm pretty much down with any of them, honestly, as long as they're alive.
it's going to be. I mean, it would be an impersonator, but
As long as Colin Baker's not wearing Crocs.
we can shoot from the waist up. No one will notice.
They did like an interview with they had Colin Baker on one of the new DVD sets, and man is getting very old and not quite in his right mind anymore, and was like wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and Crocs, and I was like, oh, poor Doctor Who.
Oh, and I gotta address the audience a little bit and tell them to watch Loki.
Oh yeah,
if you want a good series, it's fucking tremendous. Also, got my variant jacket coming in the mail, so I'm happy.
Nice.
Yes.
You know, fucking Loki is doing Doctor Who right now better than Doctor Who has been doing Doctor Who in the last like 3 years.
Yeah, it's definitely what got our Doctor Who discussion got me thinking of Loki very quickly.
I need to watch Loki, guys.
He's got the outfit down.
I need to
He's
watch
got the-
Loki.
Did you even watch fucking WandaVision, Zach?
Yeah, I loved WandaVision. I haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier. No.
Nah, you didn't.
Yeah,
I'm trying to finish season
You
2
don't
of-
need to, but you should eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to finish season 2 of Mandalorian first, and I just haven't been watching it lately. But
you,
it's great.
You have time. You have time. It's going to take a whole.
all these
year for season
horror
3.
releases are coming out. We have the Forever Purge, which I'll probably begrudgingly see.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of cool
I might
different
do a
horror
theater
releases.
for that one.
You know, I wanted to bring this up. I found out about this documentary that's coming out called The Sleepless Unrest because it's about the Conjuring house. It's about a bunch of like paranormal investigators that decided to stay a night. And I guess the house I don't know if it's based on the case from the first Conjuring film. But there's just a trailer that basically looks like an episode of Ghost Adventures. It's called The Sleepless Unrest, and I think it's getting a limited theatrical release. I just mention it because we reviewed Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It last week, and you guys were mentioning wanting like a documentary on Ed and Lorraine Warren. This isn't that, but it is a documentary that has a tie to The Conjuring. So there you go.
And if you do want a little bit of a documentary on Ed and Lorraine Warren, it's not quite on them, but it is about the Amityville case, their most famous case. This used to be easy to find. It's not now. It's called My Amityville Horror. Everyone should see it. Chris, you should see it if you haven't.
I have seen it.
Really good. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Zach, have you seen it?
I maybe have seen bits and pieces of it. I don't know if I've seen it.
It's really good. Really, really good.
It's great, but it also kind of might ruin all the Amityville horror movies for you.
And it'll depress the shit out of you too. Yeah, it'll ruin your day as well.
Where is that available?
Fuck, I don't know. It used to be everywhere, and now it's not.
I'm guessing it's depressing because there probably weren't any ghosts involved, and it was just a really sick person.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
That is streaming on on AMC,
oh,
On
sweet.
AMC.
whatever AMC Plus. I didn't know that was like.
I didn't know that was a thing that existed. There's too many streaming services.
Or
Oh,
DirecTV, or you can just rent it on Apple.
Yeah, it's like God forbid they put it on fucking Shudder when they own the service too. You know.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us this week, guys, on another Mishbro podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media. Chris, where can they find you?
I'm at twitter.com/Kris Pistol, Chris with a K and Pistol with a E. I'm also on Letterboxd. You should follow me on Letterboxd.
Yes, you should. Casey, sir, where can they find you?
Okay, they can find me at Lucha Gringo on Twitter and Letterboxd. Also, if you want to hear me talk about Saturday morning cartoons, look up Markout Mania on YouTube. We did a Saturday morning cartoon draft yesterday. Had a lot of fun doing it. Those guys ruled. They're good dudes. Check them out. They have some really interesting topics sometimes, and I'm on the show a lot. I think I've been on there like 7 times now.
Yeah,
if
definitely
not as
make
close
sure
that.
to check out their podcast. They're always really supportive of all the stuff we do here, so make sure you give them some support as well and check out their show.
So the guys that do the show are really great guys, and yeah, they're older than me though, so they didn't pick the same cartoons I did. So what I want you to do is I want you to listen to it, and I want you to put in the comments Casey won, Casey won, Casey won. Okay, thank you.
And make sure you follow us here on our official Twitter account under Another Miserable Podcast, and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Also under Another Miserable Podcast. You can follow my personal Twitter at twitter.com/earth2zach. That's Earth, the number 2, Zach, Z-A-K. You can also follow me on Instagram under that same handle, as well as Letterboxd with the exact same handle. And if you enjoy what we do, please consider leaving us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or whatever streaming service you listen to us on. It would really help us out. We would super appreciate it. Please tell your friends about us.
No, review us. That affects us more than anything.
Yeah.
Do it so that we start popping up in people's searches on iTunes, please. Good reviews. If you're going to be an asshole, just give the review to like Nightmare on Film Street instead or something. Okay.
Anyway, we have a lot of great stuff ahead of you. We're still kind of ushering in this next phase of Another Miserable Podcast. We have new artwork that's coming very soon that I'm really eager to show you because it looks awesome. So big shout out to my friend Kevin, who is working on that for us. Friend of the show, Kevin, who you can hear
Thanks,
on the
Kev.
show. Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned
every
for all
time
that.
we mention him being on the show, that Terror Vision theme song gets stuck in my head again. God damn it.
I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. We're actually recording this on 4th of July, but this will come out about a week after that or so. So I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. I hope you declared your independence from all things shitty. And I hope you had some good barbecue and watched some fun horror movies. And yeah, we will be back soon. We will be doing another retrospective at some point, maybe this month, if not this month, next month for sure. Trying to figure out what our next episode is going to be, but stay tuned just because it's going to be great no matter what. So I hope you are doing well, stay safe, and we will see you guys